everybody doing? How are you doing, folks? Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending a little bit of time here with me today. I am, of course, Big Cheds from Twitter. That's where you know me from. And, of course, I'm on YouTube at Cheds Trading. I teach professional technical analysis, Japanese candlestick theory, and classical charting. I take at least I try to take the complicated and the academic. I try to make it a little bit easier for you. So please soak up all the great stuff I have for you to learn. If you want to start with TA, watch the Masterclass tutorial playlist. I published 3 books, and they're mostly free on my YouTube. I have a 4th book coming really soon, The Trading Journal. I'm really excited about that. Like this week, it's ready to come out. Here's a mock-up of the final cover. This is part of the quick market update series. We'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I'll take some questions, kind of hang out with you folks in the chat room, and just see how everybody is doing. And if you're looking for more in-depth analysis, of course, I do a twice-a-week report at Bitcoin Live with the best team in the world that studies crypto. Folks, let me know if you can hear me okay. Send me a comment. Let me know in the chat room how you're doing. Let me know where you're from. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know what's going on, folks. And we'll try to create some good content here. We'll try to create some value. So, folks, thanks for hanging out here with me. Good to see you, Caleb, Anders, Martwan, Matage, Jake, Yanez, Cliff as well. Nice to see you, folks. I do these streams every Tuesday, every Friday and Saturday. I'm really wanting to put out a lot of free content this year. And I'm just enjoying doing these. So, definitely Bitcoin's in a bit of trouble. We can see that pretty clearly. And it's been an interesting situation where I got uber. First of all, I was bullish the whole time we were above 90K. Looked really good until we started to break down. I switched postures and I put out a couple big warning tweets. And I put a big warning tweet on the day of February 25th. This is really when I started to get bearish, which was just a couple weeks ago. And I said, look, this is a pretty big deal. We're losing this clearly defined level, and looks like we're going to 74K. And then we had that bounce. We had that unbelievable bounce on the announcement of the, the news, the announcement of like the strategic reserve here in the U.S. And all that good stuff. And it was exciting. And I was starting to really question my bear thesis and wondering what the hell I was thinking. And we just gave it all back, and we've just been dribbling down. So we're in an interesting spot, certainly for Bitcoin. We're in this kind of in-between zone, in between the prior range, in between the prior range above 90K and, in between the prior range from 90 plus and the prior range, from 55 roughly to 74. So we're in this kind of no man's land in between, right? So Bitcoin's broken down. Damage has been done for sure. And, are we going to get a bounce? I think we're definitely going to get some little bounce here. We're due for a little bit of a quote-unquote oversold bounce. I was just looking at this on the 4-hour, and you can see a pretty well-defined descending supply trend here. And as a reminder, it doesn't exactly matter where you're drawing this line. It's just a trend of supply for sure. Bulls really haven't done anything to kind of step in and say, hey, the low is in. We broke the low from February. We're temporarily back up above it. Even if you took a spring, you took a long and a recapture here, you get a hold 78.5. So the price is under a lot of pressure. It really needs to, recapture the range above, or it needs to test in a meaningful way the range below. And really the best case, I've been saying this for a while, would be just a quick drop down to this range and bounce. We're kind of slow bleeding there, which isn't great. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Looking at Ethereum, pretty rough. I mean, really, really, really rough. I mean, it's been weak compared to Bitcoin. We know that. I'm not breaking any ground. Inability to get back up above, 2,700. Inability to hold in the high time frame, must hold level right around 2150. We're on the wrong side of that right now, which is pretty big deal. Pretty big deal for the price. It makes it much more likely that it's going to revisit all the way down to 1500. So, the market's in a bit of trouble, and I'm going to get to your questions. I really want to hear from you folks and see what you think. definitely market's in a bit of trouble. Ethereum looks like it's headed for 1500, absent a recapture of the 2100 range. Ethereum bleeding versus Bitcoin. People have been calling bottom in this all year. We see how that's played out. And of course, Solana or Solana at this point didn't hold at 215, didn't hold at 185, didn't hold at 165, and didn't hold at 120. And we're essentially doing an underside retest of lost support here. We've been talking about, I've been talking about here, Bitcoin Live, the loss of the weekly MA50, the first suggestion of the weakening trend. Let's grab that right there. And you can see pretty good follow through just from that simple observation. First close below the weekly MA50. John, I wasn't trying to draw below 70K. I just did that rather quickly. I was trying to illustrate a drop back to the prior range high, right? Which is what it looks like we're heading there. So we're in that gap in between the ranges at this point. You can be watching on low time frame. You could be playing the sweep and recapture. If you're looking for like an overhead trigger, I think you need to wait for, minimally like 85, 85, 86K for that 2-level filter. But there's just a lot of damage is being done. And let's check in with the chat room. Let's see how everybody's doing. What's up, Carl? What's up, John Matej, Z-Zone, and Sammy? Folks, give me some good questions. I want to hear from you while I take a sip of my coffee and catch my breath. I want to try to add some value. So think about something you've been having trouble with as a trader, something you've been dealing with, and maybe I'll see if we can add some value. So let's get that going. Let me check in here with the chat room, maybe even a chart request or two, and we'll go from there. So ETH is screwed. Martwan says, yeah, ETH is definitely in a bit of trouble, and the mojo's way gone. I think a lot of people, if this is technically in the top, right, on Bitcoin, definitely looks like a local top, and we're seeing momentum follow through on the loss of 90K. It'd be like the first time we haven't had a sustained Bitcoin bounce off, after like a major Bitcoin top. So it'd be very interesting to see, if we get that. We just had nothing from Ethereum, failed inverted head and shoulders continuation up here, loss of weekly 200, now loss of 2100. So Z-Zone says, last I seen, everyone was calling for 49 and or downside till August. I think it's a little bit premature to be calling for 50K right now. They say I could see a chop between 74 and 90. I agree with that. That makes sense on Bitcoin for sure. We're still above the weekly SMA 50, says Martwan. Yeah, that's a good point. If we think back to the 2021 top, our first, with the double top, of course. And one of the first big warning signs was that close below the weekly MA50, kind of like we just saw with Solana, right? First close below the weekly MA50. We don't have that yet. We haven't even really tested it. We're getting close to it. The price held here the last couple times. We did have a series, of horizontal breaks and recaptures in the prior range. But the difference was we had all the support here to buttress or to give support to bulls. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. We are definitely pushing, right towards that weekly 50 and the weekly lower Bollinger Band. So in some ways it's similar to here, but not quite the same technical picture. Let's see, folks. Let me read the chat rooms here. Okay, Giannis, when we say the candle's lost to support, when it closes below the 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 daily, well, that's up to you. That's up to you. That's your style. Do you like to trade more low time frame, or are you a swing trader? You're trading more long time frame. Nobody's going to tell you, what there is no exact answer. Is it supposed to be 1 hour? That's based on you and your trading style. If you're trading intraday, intra-candle, and this is your job, you don't have a day job, and you can watch the chart. Sure, you can play intra-candle or 1 hour close. Most people have to wait for like a daily, 2 daily. Close, or at least multiple 4-hour closes. So, John, that's up to you. People always ask this question, and there's no, people want to know, when is it quote unquote confirmed, right? Because if you remember back, I did a video I live streamed during this candle, the 25th, and I said, look, if for me, If we don't close back up above in this daily candle, it looks like the range was lost. That was the confirmation I used for me in that moment. But that wasn't like because my confirmation levels have been met, it's impossible for the price to go back up. No, you just have to pick a style. It's about a risk management style when you go with confirmation level. And I talk about this all, of course, in the Masterclass playlist. A lot of great questions here. I've got 160 of you folks. Do I find Fibonacci projections useful? Not really. I don't think they're not useful. I don't use them. I know many people do. It's kind of the best you can do in a sense where if you have a breakout, certainly when you have like a blue sky breakout to an all-time high, you can draw a projection 167. You can do all those things. It's fine. For me, it doesn't really do anything. I don't like to project out, certainly with no price history. I don't need Fibonacci's when I can just look left. You can always look left and view prior price structure. So it's one of those things where it's a stylistic thing. There's some great traders who use fibs. I know Dean does. See the Light, one of the best traders I know, Bitcoin Live team. Other people use it, and I would suggest you try and experiment with it. My style doesn't have to work for you. I just want you to take something from me. Just take a little something from me. All right. Jake says, hey, Cheds, and great question, folks. What do you find are the best ways of dealing with stress with trading? It's a great question. Even when I use risk management and well-defined trades, I find it mentally taxing. It's a great call. So, Jake, how's your sleep, right? How's your physical health? Are you taking care of yourself? If your sleep sucks, so will your trading, right? So you got to take care of yourself. You have to look at the whole body, mind, body, soul. You got to take care of yourself, eating right, exercising, sleeping right. Try meditating. Exercise is good. Trading journal. I happen to have a book coming out very soon. Plug the trading journal. Are you trading with a plan that you've defined ahead of time? You execute it. If it fails, you say, okay, I stuck to my risk. I executed my plan. If you have some confidence in what you're doing, then you don't mind taking losses because wins will come later down the road because you're following a plan. You're being methodical. You're not just throwing darts. Not that I don't love to throw darts. I actually do love throwing darts. Not that you're throwing darts. You're just executing the plan and you're managing your risk. So that would be my opinion on that. Cesarunio finally caught you live. Let's take a couple requests. We'll bounce around the chat room. It's just me. I will not get to all your questions. High time frame look on Tau. I mean, it doesn't have a ton of history, but it looks pretty terrible. I mean, you can't go high time frame in something like this weekly. Really, the highest time frame you can go is the daily chart because you've got the MA200 here. This is a really bad chart. I would just not play it. I mean, sure, it's got support here. It's testing, where has held in the past. But, why try to guess when a downtrend reverses? Minimum, you want to wait for a recapture of, say, 300. I think you just completely ignore this chart until it can recapture 300. Back in Bitcoin real quick, I'll look at the chat. Kind of a big follow through in the momentum loss of 90K. We pumped with the reserve, and we've reversed that 4 hour, a lot of pressure, no real let up yet. We see a pretty well-defined descending supply trend. We'll see if that breaks. 2-level filter. You do have a local spring. We'll see how long that is in play for. Let's see. Braden says, are we going to get a bounce back up to 84K? Very well could be. Very well could be. You do have the spring. It's rare to go straight down. And when you have these little bounces, like we're not even at, daily EMA 8. So we haven't even really bounced to that. You normally will see like a series of underside tests of a falling EMA 8, exponential moving average, as the price continues down. Zena says, still hard to judge if this was cycle top. Local top. It looks like a local top. Is it the top? We don't know yet. I mean, it would have to fail at 74K and drop into the range for it to be much more like a cycle top. I don't know that, here's the thing. People ask me a lot of time in the comments, is it a bear market? Is it a alt season? Is it a this? Just narratives don't really do anything for you. Narratives, you don't resist the urge to slap a label on this stuff. What does that do for you? If you label it, What does that matter? You still have to either trade something or don't trade. And if you're trading it, you have a plan. I'm here because, for example, right? For example, I'm long in Bitcoin because it recaptured, 79K. And so I know if it fails to hold 79K, I'm out. Fine. Like, that's a trade idea with a defined risk. The whole idea of, is it a cycle top? Is it a bear market? Why do we spend so much time? Why do we spend so much time in narratives? They give us nothing. Is it cycle top? Is it bear? Nobody knows. Stop wasting your time guessing. Just get to work. Take what's available. If there's no trade, go read a textbook. Go work out. Do something to improve yourself. There's no magic bullet alt season. These terms, these narratives are just basically useless. It's chart by chart. Okay? Let's see. Can you check out XRP? Sure. We'll check out XRP. Let's check out XRP hashtag. The standard looks like it's trying to hold where it needs to hold at 2. It's still one of the better looking charts. It's almost like Bitcoin at 90K, right? Almost like a pre-breakdown. You can call it a head and shoulders top, but it still has to break, this $2 range. It's still an uptrend. It doesn't really have that much support, I don't think. It's got some support down the $1.50 to $2 range. So in many senses, it kind of mirrors XRP, hashtag the standard. It kind of mirrors Bitcoin before it broke down. So it still looks pretty good. Z-Zone says ETH likely visit 1,500. I agree with you. Cesaruno, buying a new portfolio after selling off. What are your top strength indicators patterns? I mean, it's not that complicated. You don't need indicators or patterns. You just want price to recapture lost support. That's it, right? First of all, if you want to know my setup, go to the Masterclass tutorials. I explain candlestick theory in classical charting. So, what are my favorite patterns? I mean, just like if Aave, can recapture 240, you can take a long because it looks likely to continue with the trend. You don't need a pattern. It's not about a pattern. It's just simple. Look, it's just simple support and resistance. If you've got a support level and it's lost, if it's recaptured, that's a long. You can take that. Just take a resistance level or a support level. If it's broken and recaptured, use that. You don't need, my favorite pattern. I like to play this. It's just too much. People focus on patterns when it's really just momentum. And does the price hold support or not? Can it break resistance or not? Bitcoin drops to 72 to 74K. You have a very nice long thesis. You can define your risk. You can scale in here, and if it drops below 70K, you kind of maybe scale back out and say it should have held. Just play clearly defined price levels. You don't need, I think people think, I need to fancify everything. I need to define this. Not every consolidation, you don't have to, for example, you don't need to add a name to whatever this is. It's a bear pennant that rolled over, and now it's a potential double bottom with it. You don't need any of that. It's just price below support and above resistance, and it's consolidating. You can just really 99 out of 100 times just simplify it, right? All right, let's see. What are we talking about? Best books in trading psychology that I haven't heard of? Well, I would say my books. I write a lot of great stuff. Trading Quotes, which is my third book. I'm doing the whole thing for free. I've started recording it. So watch this. This is my quotes book, Trading Wisdom, a third of that's for free. My stuff is all about trading psychology. And Trading Journal talks about that a lot too. Let's see, folks. I'm checking out the chat room. What do you think about high time frame Chainlink? It's terrible. Why are you still looking at Chainlink? You just certainly below 20. You had to just remove this one from the watch list. Let's take a look. Yeah, yikes. It's a terrible chart. Avoid it. It looks bad. Yeah, Chainlink looks bad. I don't like it. I think it's probably going lower, probably going to $7, $8, $9, $10. You see the up thrust or failed hold off of the break of February, March highs into a kind of a broader lower high. You sure you've got rising demand structure, high time frame, sure, but you've got some pretty bearish momentum into it. I just don't like the chart. Even in this market, there's where a lot of stuff looks pretty weak. There's way better stuff. So I just don't like Chainlink. I don't like it at all. It's underperformed. I'm disappointed in it being unable to hold here above 2021. You really, really should have cut your position. 1890 if it didn't hold. There's no reason. If you bought up here and you're still holding, that's just an own goal type of situation. Silver Dollar says, appreciate you, Cheds. Lots of other crypto guys and influencers have been really quiet the last 2 weeks. Not you, Cheds. Well, first of all, I'm not an influencer. I'm an educator. I'm just a guy who made it. I grinded my way up from the bottom. And people helped me out. So I try to help you out. Almost all of what I do is free. I'm live streaming here 3 days a week. I'm making my books free. I have a new book coming out. Hopefully you'll check it out. And then if you want more, of course, Bitcoin Live twice a week, where I do full market reports. I haven't missed a report in 7 years. But I'm not an influencer. I'm an educator. I have a lot of fun with what I do. I like teaching people. I love talking to you folks. I love doing these streams. I don't think that, first of all, Sigma, you said, I think Chainlink is still in an uptrend. It's not. That MA200 is rolling over. If you take a look at H-bar, sure. We'll do a couple more and we'll wrap it up in a minute. Unable to hold around 25, 26, 15, 16 cents, or roughly right here, 17, 18 rather. You really want to see it hold. It is still technically an uptrend, but it's been stair-stepping down, unfortunately, after this, I think important range break. So I think you really, 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 really got to pay attention if H-bar is unable to hold here. This is a critical spot on it. You would have to give edge to bulls, though. Price above a rising 200. You should orient yourself. Again, what's an uptrend? It's price above a rising 200. What's a downtrend? Price below a falling 200. Chocolate says, Cheds, take a look at the descending triangle in the 15-second chart. Sir, I will not. Sir, I will not. I actually know a guy. I did live streams with him a few years back, Joe Saz. I think he traded in like the 3-second chart. I kid you not. And he was actually really good. I just think that's funny. Caesar says, you're great. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Please look at Litecoin. It's terrible. Yeah, it's so terrible. I removed it from my list. I'm not this is generally the coins I show people at Bitcoin Live. I'm not going to show them bad charts. And the thing is, just ignore it below 100. Failed hold. How excited were people about Litecoin right here? If you go back and review the Twitter, there were some big TA accounts, quote unquote, professional TA guys. I say that quote unquote because they were not. It looks great for me. I said, it's just below resistance. Every time he's bounced here, it's failed. Gave a couple short, or at least I gave a couple indications like prices at resistance. And now it's below 100. I mean, just delete this one. It's going way lower, probably going way lower. It doesn't look good. Bitcoin's also in trouble, but Litecoin looks terrible. Should I wait till Bitcoin... Hey, David. Should I wait till Bitcoin dips into resistance to buy again, or should I wait? Well, that's kind of up to you. What's your strategy? Are you buying for like your kids? Are you buying for the future? Then you should just dollar cost average, buy a little bit every week. If you're trading, then you need to come up with a trade thesis so you can define when it fails. So I think you'd need a recapture. If you want to drop to low time frame and say, I want to, what kind of reasonable recapture can I use to go long? Well, I think that's clearly 94K, 94.5. You can take a long and a break there. You can play in the chop here if you want. I think you're going to get stopped out. It's going to be hard to define a trade idea. If you took a spring here, that's definable, but there's been no follow through on it, and the price looks to retest this low. And I think the next reasonable level would be 74K, 72 to 74K. I've been saying since February 25th, we're probably going to 74K, and that's since we started to break down. I even said before this when I was uber bullish, and I was making fun of bears all in here because price had held support. And I said, look, I'm bullish, but if we lose 90K, we're going to 72, 74. So that still seems likely. But the question is, should I this or should I that? No one's going to tell you what you should do. I think you have to figure out what your strategy is. What do you use for screening good setups? No, none of that. I just look at the chart, brother, David, DeWald. I just look at the chart. I train myself. I mean, I have so much muscle memory. I've been trading for 20 years. I've been trading publicly and doing charts on Twitter for like now 14 years. And I've been, teaching it here for at least 8 years, 7, 8 years. What do? I just look at the charts. I have a watch list of 10 or 15 plays I trade from, which is generally the top 10 or 15 here. And I'm telling you, Bitcoin Live twice a week when I do my full market report, it really resets me and helps me like stop and do a deep dive and stay in touch. I'm pretty much always ready for volatility. So I don't members will request coins. I'll look at them. That will put it on my radar. If I see people talking about stuff on Twitter, I'll take a look at it. I don't need a screener, right? I can just look at price versus support and resistance. I trained myself. I read textbook and then, I did CMT level 1. So I studied TA professionally. I'm literally trying to teach it to you for free here on my YouTube and on Twitter. So I don't need a screener. I just look at a chart. Is it good or not? Is it a good setup? Is it a well-defined setup? And I go over all this in the masterclass. You folks really need to watch this. If you want to get better, you got to start with that. So I don't need a screener. I don't use a screener. David says, I made a lot of money listening to you. Well, I think you made the money, and I'll give you the credit for that. So good work. Good work there. Riley says, great quote. I'm just a guy who made it. I grinded my way up. Thank you. And I appreciate that. I'll sometimes show humility. Most of the time, I'm an egomaniac, and I'm working on that. And I can be a jerk, and I'm sorry. And then Twitter, it's hard. It's hard because you don't know if someone's like making fun of you, or they're being funny, or there's being satirical or whatever. So whatever, folks. Thanks for hanging out here. This is a great room here. 200 people. Remember, I'm doing these Tuesday, Friday, Saturday night. Let's see. So Bitcoin, do you care about the bearish cross of the daily EMA 8 with the 200? Not really. I'm not going to use an 8 versus a 200 cross. I'm only going to use an 8 for a 34 cross, right? I'm not going to use an 8 with the 200. You use a 50 for a 200 cross, 50 simple, 200 simple, but I would never really use the whole point of a short-term moving average is to cross with a little bit less short-term. So like a 5 and a 15, pardon me, like a 12 and a 26. Those are very common. The problem is you didn't really get that good signal here because it was sideways. And in a sideways environment, moving average crosses don't mean anything. I've lectured on this a million times. I've tweeted out the moving average basics. You can search it. You find it on Twitter. I talk about it in all my books. So you never really got a good short-term moving average cross. We may get something here with like the 50 and the 200 perhaps. But then with the moving average cross, you need to look at the price distance of the cross. You need to look at the market if it's trending or not. And that is the point. Hey, DeWalt says, I only want a screener because there's so many coins. Well, look, just play only like the best 10 or 15 coins. You could even take the ones I have here in my list, like the top 15 are generally some of the best looking coins. They're available on the top exchanges. And just have a small watch list. I really recommend you have a small watch list because if you bounce, I have a lot of quotes, obviously, and that's why I made the book, the trading quotes book, but bouncing around from play to play is the death of a bankroll. And be a rock, not a blade in the grass. So, blowing in the wind. Like if someone tweets out a chart, oh, that looks good. Don't just go buy some. You need to be only playing things from your watch list, things you've been studying closely. You've got muscle memory on, and that's really important. So, you don't just because there's a lot of coins, you can ignore most of them. Just play the major coins. Take the major exchange, Binance, whatever, and look at the top 10 or 15 coins and study those and only play those and know their charts. And that way you can deal with volatility when it comes. So descending supply trend, test, and rejection here on Bitcoin. A little bit of a oscillator reset here. I don't know if we need to really look at, the indicators too much, but we can take a quick peek for everybody. RSI cooled off. This bounce, this strategic reserve announcement allowed the RSI to cool off for another leg down. We're pushing down. There is no real, sign of relief for bulls. The momentum loss in 90K is significant, and we're going to continue to kind of keep a track of it. It's, Tuesday? So I'm doing Bitcoin Live tomorrow. I'll do the full market report tomorrow. I'll be back with you guys and gals, you folks here on Friday, and probably Saturday. I may have to skip Saturday, but I'm definitely going to be back Friday for a stream. I'm doing these 3 days a week, quick market update series. I've published 3 books. My 4th book, The Trading Journal, is coming out like within days. I love this book. I'm really excited. Great artist did the cover for me. So this book will teach you why you should use a trading journal, how to fill out a trading journal, good trader habits, emotional management. It's going to teach you different trade setups and when those trade setups fail. Really, really excited about this book. My next book after this will be a poker and trading crossover book. So since I have a new book coming out, making my third book free, make sure you check it out. Check out all my great free learning material here on YouTube. Most of what I do is free. If you want more, I do the full market report, Bitcoin Live, twice a week with the best team in the world that studies crypto. I've been doing this for 7 years. I have not missed a report on Wednesday or Saturday night in 7 years. So consider checking that out. But in the meantime, you did it. You made it to one of my live streams. You were here. You added some energy. And thank you for that. It's been wonderful to have all you folks here. A lot of great questions. I may not have gotten to all of them, but I tried to get too many of them. So thank you for hanging out here. It's been really nice. I hope you have you're having a good start to the week. And come back on Friday and let me know how your week is going. And we'll go from there. So let's finish it off here with the Church of 8 Wheels, folks. Thank you so much. Peace out, everybody. Big Cheds loves you.